What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Surfing the Stream. My name is Matt. Today, I am talking about the long awaited return of one of the most iconic parody franchises of the early 2000s, Scary Movie 6. Now, I'm going to be completely upfront here. I'm generally not a fan of comedy mixed with horror. More often than not, the comedy undercuts the tension and takes me out of the experience. But the Scary Movie franchise is a little bit different because it's not trying to be a horror movie. It's just a parody of horror movies in general. So I haven't watched these films since I was a kid, but I have a lot of nostalgia for those first two Scary movies. I still quote lines from the original all the time. To me, that first movie is a comedy classic. So when they announced Scary Movie 6 and I saw the trailer, I was genuinely excited. With the Wayans brothers returning, it looked like we were finally getting a return to form. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. Scary Movie 6 follows a group of familiar faces as they stumble through a series of bizarre situations inspired by recent horror films, pop culture moments, and current events. Instead of focusing on a single central story, the movie jumps from movie to movie, spoofing everything from modern horror hits to internet trends and celebrity culture and politics. So we actually did a Patreon meetup for this movie and watched it together with about 10 of us, I think. And I have to say, it was pretty rough. In fact, it's probably a cunt hair better than watching Jurassic World Dominion in theaters. And that's not exactly a compliment there. Honestly, this might be one of the worst movies that I've ever seen in a theater. Now, before anyone says that I'm being too harsh, I do want to acknowledge that there were a few moments that did make me legitimately laugh out loud, but nothing had me crying with laughter. Nothing had me in tears. The only thing that had me wanting to cry was the runtime because I kept wishing that that movie would end. This is easily my most disappointing movie of the year. The biggest problem is the writing, or honestly, the complete lack thereof. Look, nobody goes to a scary movie expecting some deep, complex narrative. But even the previous films had a basic story tying everything together. There was at least some structure there, like very minimal structure. I honestly couldn't tell you what the plot of this movie is because there really isn't one. It's just a collection of skits, essentially. One scene references one movie, the next scene references a different movie, and then we jump to some random pop culture joke, a political joke, or a reference to a real world event. And that's the issue. Best parody movies out there don't just reference things, they actually make fun of them. They exaggerate the tropes, point out the absurdity of them, and find clever ways to twist audience expectations. And Scary Movie 6 doesn't do that. It relies almost entirely on surface level references and expects you to laugh simply because you recognize what it's talking about. Oh, hey, I know that movie. That's not a joke to me. The best part of this entire movie going experience for me was honestly just trying to figure out which movie that they were making fun of from scene to scene. As far as performances go, Marlon Wayans is easily the best part of this entire movie. And for the most part, I would throw all the original cast members into that conversation as well. Whenever Marlon Wayans shows up as Shorty, the movie instantly becomes more entertaining. His scenes are ridiculous, over the top, and incredibly stupid, as per the usual, but that's also when I laughed the hardest. Shawn Wayans, on the other hand, honestly, it looked like he could be anywhere else but that movie. He kind of phoned it in for the most part. I was expecting to get way more laughs from his character, and I just didn't. It felt like we were getting the same joke over and over again, and not interesting or compelling ways. Regina Hall is fantastic as always. Love her character in these movies. Every scene that she's in is elevated simply because of her energy and comedic timing. While I've never been the biggest Anna Faris fan in these movies, I did think that she was just okay here. And unfortunately, outside of those returning cast members, there really aren't any standout performances or memorable moments from these new characters that we got. The pacing isn't the worst that I've ever seen, but when we got around that 1 hour mark, like I was done. I was checking my watch pretty regularly. The middle portion of the movie is just all these jokes being thrown at you at once. It's one of those let's throw it at the wall and hope it sticks kind of things. And to me, it just felt so repetitive. And I just felt bored for probably about 20 or 30 minutes in the middle of the movie. And when you start getting bored in a comedy, that's not a great sign. Because at the end of the day, the one thing in comedy absolutely has to do is make you laugh. And this movie just isn't funny enough to justify its existence. So overall, I didn't enjoy Scary Movie 6. And based on the reactions from our Patreon meetup group as well, I wasn't alone in that opinion. This was a huge missed opportunity. The cast is talented, the nostalgia is there. The Wayans brothers returning should have been a slam dunk. And instead, we got a movie that mistakes references for jokes and forgets what made the original film work in the first place. For me, this is one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I honestly wouldn't recommend you watch this in theaters, and you could probably just skip it altogether. I think there's better movies out there for you to check out. But if you do want to check it out eventually, I would just recommend checking it out on streaming. But guys, let me know down below if you have seen Scary Movie 6. What did you think about the return of the Wayans brothers? Did this movie meet your expectations, or was it just a terrible time at the theater? Let me know down below. And while you're there, hit that like, subscribe button. That's really going to help us out. And thank y'all for joining me for this review. And I will catch y'all next time on another one. Laters.